What are the chances of getting mugged while walking alone? And what are the odds of being saved by a dashing hero standing nearly 6 feet tall during the mugging? I don't know, but it happened to me. I was just out to grab dinner when I experienced the sequence of events. My phone was knocked out of my hand by a thug, I fell, and then I started cursing. Suddenly, a high-quality athlete dashed over and retrieved my phone in a few swift moves. His back was straight and strong. The way he executed that sweeping kick looked a lot like the self-defense techniques taught at school.
Here, your phone.
He handed it back to me, his chest rising and falling slightly from the exertion. I could faintly see the outline of his well-defined chest muscles.
Thank you.
Before I could properly take a good look at this kind-hearted, high-quality human, he had already silently returned to his spot. Not far away, in front of a doorway, he crouched there, scrolling through his phone, shoulders hunched. He looked like a forlorn puppy. Soft and fluffy. A well-defined nose, thin lips, and a healthy light tan that seemed to come from years of exercise.
Hey, not going home? Having a fight with your family?
He looked up at me, slightly startled, and didn't say a word. Awkward.
Hey, want to come to my place?
For the second time, my words left him momentarily stunned. Then he couldn't help but laugh.
As a girl, don't you have any sense of caution?
Of course I do. Mainly because you're good looking.
I watched as the corners of his previously downturned lips relaxed, lighting up his entire face.
Then I might just believe you, especially if it's a pretty girl saying it.
It was rush hour, and the constant honking was giving me a headache. I deftly pulled out a lighter and a cigarette, lit it, and took a deep drag. I noticed his slight frown.
What, don't like it?
Isn't it normal for a kidnapper to smoke?
He stared at my cigarette, then looked away.
Girls shouldn't smoke too much. It's bad for the skin.
That handsome face showed a hint of bashful cuteness. I leaned in closer, until our noses were almost touching.
Do you think I need to worry about that?
He pulled back like a startled rabbit. I burst out laughing. Narrator, tone, serious. The evening rain arrived quietly but with great force. He followed me home.
Ryan, tone, friendly Ryan. He introduced himself from behind me. Thank you.
The name sounded familiar, but I couldn't place it.
Emily, tone, cheerful Emily, no need to thank me. You helped me earlier too.
Ryan was a polite young man, clearly well-mannered. He held the elevator door for me and subtly kept those reeking of alcohol at bay. Narrator, tone, relieved. I kicked off my shoes at the entrance and walked barefoot into the living room, tossing my bag onto the sofa.
Emily, tone, serious. There are disposable slippers in the shoe cabinet. Help yourself. I live alone here.
Ryan, tone, curious. And your parents?
Narrator, tone, serious. Ryan asked as he took off his shoes, neatly arranging mine.
Emily, tone, half smiling. They're where they should be. Just not at my place.
Ryan, tone, apologetic. Sorry.
Emily, tone, defensive. Why are you so fussy? Having parents or not makes no difference. I still grew up just fine.
Narrator, tone, thoughtful. I figured Ryan must be having a hard time sharing a space with someone as quirky as me. But to me, his presence was like a breath of fresh air, adding a unique touch to my otherwise mundane day. It had been a while since I had interacted with anyone. Narrator, tone, observant. Since his clothes were soaked from the rain, and he stubbornly refused to sit down, worried about wetting the sofa, I went to my room and found a set of men's pajamas, handing them to him and suggesting he take a shower.
Ryan, tone, curious. These are.
Narrator, tone, serious. He looked at me curiously.
Emily, tone, nonchalant. Friends. He occasionally stays here for a couple of days, I lied without batting an eye.
Narrator, tone, serious. These were trivial matters, not worth sharing with someone unrelated. Narrator, tone, observant. Ryan came out after his shower, wearing the perfectly fitting pajamas. My eyes fell on his physique. The gray silk pajamas outlined his solid frame, with broad shoulders and a wide chest.
Yin yin.
Emily, tone, thoughtful. The name was so familiar. I must have seen him somewhere.
Ryan, tone, curious. Are you a student at a university? You look familiar.
Emily, tone, excited. I nodded, and suddenly remembered who he was.
Narrator, tone, excited. Ryan, from my school, a national level swimmer. The kind who always appeared on the school's confession wall and had a bunch of girls chasing after him, calling him handsome.
Emily, tone, astonished. Emily, you actually brought a celebrity home.
The city's night gradually turned gray, and from the 22nd floor window, the clouds on the horizon looked like rolling waves.
Good night, Mom.
The feeling of being controlled, so annoying. When I walked out wrapped in a bathrobe, Ryan's attitude had softened. His eyes were clearer, but when his gaze briefly swept over my bare shoulder, his face turned red.
Are you embarrassed?
I sat down beside him without hesitation.
No.
Really? Grown up and never had a girlfriend? Never seen this before?
He coughed twice, his eyes wandering aimlessly on the floor.
No.
How about this?
I leaned closer to him, shoulder to shoulder, letting the dampness from my hair transfer to his chest. My fingertips fell on his collar, slipping inside bit by bit, touching his well-defined muscles.
Seducing someone is very easy, just a little push is needed.
I didn't believe Ryan wouldn't feel anything for me at this moment.
What will you do, Ryan? Accept my advances? Or reject me without mercy?
But Ryan neither accepted nor directly rejected.
Go dry your hair, or you'll catch a cold.
His hand fell on my head, gently patting. Those eyes were so clear, without a trace of desire. The demon inside me collapsed into a puff of smoke.
You're really dirty, Emily. A complete failure of seduction.
I lost interest and returned to my cold exterior. Utterly boring. I left the living room to Ryan and went back to the bedroom.
You're welcome, but you're leaving tomorrow.
A moment later, he sent another message.
Actually.
I stared at those two words for a long time. The other party was typing. Always typing, but never sending the rest.
Actually what?
That night, I didn't wait for his follow-up. Out of a sense of pride to save face, I didn't ask either. The next morning, I woke up and saw his message sent late at night.
Actually, if you don't mind, we could give it a try. Start from scratch.
I rushed out of the bedroom with my messy hair, found him on the balcony taking clothes out of the dryer, and questioned him with my phone about what he meant.
What do you mean by this?
Ryan got up very early, already washed and fresh, with his clean hair sticking to his forehead. He was different from yesterday. What was different? I wondered. Probably his whole demeanor. No longer like a drenched dog with everything going wrong.
Just what I said.
You mean, regretting not having a fling with me last night?
I bared my teeth at him, wanting to see his reaction. If it was a look of disgust, that would be best. Hurry up and leave, his sunny face made me uncomfortable.
Of course not. Actually, I know you're saying these things against your will. I think your life is too closed off. You need someone to open your heart.
Bullshit. Why do you care about me? Just one day and you think you understand me?
Then I apologize. I shouldn't have presumptuously guessed your life and thoughts, but I'm serious. I want to try dating you.
I turned and walked away.
Drop the savior complex, respect others' lives.
But if you also fall for me, it wouldn't be a savior act, right?
He grabbed my hand. His warm, dry palm wrapped around mine. The unfamiliar sensation stimulated my nervous system, nerve endings bursting into brilliant fireworks.
You're crazy. Just leave.
But he wasn't angry at all, still maintaining that polite face.
I'm serious, Emily. If you're willing to consider it.
Why? Just because of my lousy seduction attempt? He felt sorry? I didn't need anyone's pity or sympathy, no matter what terrible things they saw in me. So, I just smiled calmly.
I don't care what thoughts you had about me last night, just think I was going crazy. I have many men, you won't be the only one.
Seeing Ryan's eyes darken for a moment, I felt extremely satisfied. I thought this farce had faded away with Ryan's departure, but a few days later, I encountered him again at school. This time, he was dressed in an all-black sports outfit, with a massive training bag slung over his shoulder. He looked incredibly good, catching the attention of many passers-by who were curious about why this star athlete was in the academic building.
Emily!
He called out my name from the hallway.
I have some good news to share with you.
I'm someone with a weak will, easily swayed. Especially when I enjoy being the center of envious glances. So, when Ryan and I sat face to face at a table in the cafeteria, my vanity was satisfied, and my attitude towards him softened a bit.
Go ahead, what is it?
Ryan casually opened my milk tea and handed it to me.
Do you remember the external training I mentioned the other day? I got the opportunity for the training, and now I can prepare for the competition.
It must have taken a lot of effort, judging by the almost uncontrollable smile on his face. But I responded indifferently.
Oh, congratulations. And then?
His smile faltered halfway, but he forced it back up.
I'll be away for 2 weeks for the training, so I won't be at school. But there's a showcase match next Friday. Will you come to watch?
Those bright eyes looked straight at me, making it impossible to refuse. In hindsight, my attitude towards him was because we were fundamentally different. He was too bright, not meant to be with someone as fallen as me. I shouldn't have him, nor should I ruin him.
We'll see if I'm busy then. Don't get your hopes up, I might not make it.
But from the way his eyes lit up instantly, he probably already believed I would definitely go. I wasn't sure if this was the right choice. I hadn't planned on getting entangled with him, but why was he so persistent? Like a golden retriever, wagging its tail furiously at the slightest kindness. Back home, I couldn't control my craving for cigarettes, lighting one after another, extinguishing the butts in the sink on the balcony. My phone suddenly lit up with a message from someone saved as dad. There's a banquet tomorrow, the chairman of the Sichuan group. Come and accompany me. Your living expenses have been transferred to your account. I picked up my phone from the sink, unlocked it, and saw the bank notification. A large sum of money. But to me, it was just numbers.
What would it bring? Probably a long 24 hours of self-loathing. Clinking glasses, feigned politeness. Wearing a numb smile, enduring those rough hands grazing my skin. Shoulders, waist, thighs, and a slimy hand slipping into mine like a snake. Nausea. Escape. Failing to escape, continuing the clinking glasses and feigned politeness. This was Emily's life.
The last cigarette. I lit the lighter, unable to suppress the dry heaving. Opening WeChat, I replied with a okay. Dress nicely. The reply came quickly. Another sum of money was transferred, without any note. But I knew what it was for.
Got it.
The night grew thicker, the lead gray clouds gradually closing in, swallowing me whole. I staggered to the bedroom, finding that gray pajama set that didn't belong to me from the closet. Hugging it tightly, inhaling its scent like a lifeline. This was my only oxygen as I drowned.
How I wished someone could save me from the deep sea, bringing me into their safe waters. No longer worrying about unknown dangers and endless torment.
But I always ended up sinking deeper, suffocated by the dark waters. As for Ryan, he was too far from me. The distance from the sky to the ocean was as far as he was from me. Saturday night, I was thrown forcefully onto the sofa in the empty private room.
Emily, I didn't give you money to see your sour face.
I stubbornly kept my head down, refusing to look at the man I called father.
Not talking? The man yanked my hair. If it weren't for Mr. Lee being so understanding, this deal would have fallen through. Do you know what that means? Do you? Answer me!
My scalp ached from the pull.
I know.
He wasn't satisfied. His raised right hand hovered, ready to strike my cheek. But the slap never came. He released my hair with a cold snort.
Behave yourself later.
I sniffed hard, holding back the metallic taste in my nose.
Cat got your tongue? Didn't you hear me?
I heard you. I'll behave.
You better. Clean up your face. Don't look like you're at death's door, it's annoying. With that, he strode out.
Moments later, the noise from the adjacent room resumed, my father's loud laughter and curses particularly grating. I walked into the bathroom of the empty private room, turned on the light, and carefully checked my makeup. Good, I hadn't cried, so my eye makeup was intact. But my jaw ached, and my teeth felt misaligned, sending an undeniable sense of distortion. I didn't care. I tucked away my resentful gaze and flashed my usual sweet smile at the mirror. The woman in the mirror had exquisite makeup, with a touch of alluring beauty. My looks in youth were my greatest assets. Time to start the second half. I got home at 1:30. I didn't have the energy to change clothes, let alone walk into the bathroom. Every time I came back from entertaining, the time alone was particularly hard to bear, including but not limited to contemplating 101 ways to end it all, only to abandon the thought at the last step. Always lacking a bit of courage, always drifting in the deep sea. That's me. Cowardly, timid, yet unwilling to accept my fate. My phone vibrated, the screen lighting up. Training's over. How was your day? From Ryan. It felt like my heart was suddenly struck, a piercing, bone-deep pain. My fingers hovered over the keyboard for a long time before I finally typed.
Played all day. It was fine.
He replied quickly.
Liar.
Staring at those two words, I suddenly felt my eyes heat up, tears uncontrollably streaming down. Why do you understand me so well? How can you understand me so well? I'm just a pathetic creature surviving in the shadows. How dare you shine light on me? You give me light, only to cruelly take it away. I'm still that pitiful creature. More broken than ever. Before I could press the power button on my phone, a voice call came through. The sight of Ryan made my eyes sting and ache. After much thought, he still hadn't hung up. I had no choice but to answer.
Hello?
Ryan's gentle voice came through, cautious and probing. After a deep breath, I tried to make my tone as emotionless as possible.
What do you want?
Nothing, just wanted to chat. I felt pretty good after training today, not too tired, so I decided to walk home. The breeze outside is quite nice.
I'm not in a good place to talk right now.
My brain felt like it was being drilled, the intense vibration shaking my mind. He seemed to sense my fatigue and lowered his voice a bit.
Are you not feeling well? Is it serious?
It would be better if you just shut up.
I irritably hung up the phone. The world went quiet. Stop caring about me, I don't need it. But just as I put down my phone, the screen lit up again with his voice call request.
I tried to convey my impatience. What do you want?
I know you want to be alone, but he took a deep breath. What if I need you?
You need me? I almost laughed out loud. The side of my face still burned from the slap. Need me for what? To vent your excess energy? Or to satisfy your savior complex?
He was silent for a long time, and I could only hear the sound of passing cars. But Ryan didn't get angry. He calmly said,
I think I might be lost, Emily. I accidentally walked into your neighborhood. Could you come get me?
I quickly hung up. The red symbol flashed twice, then returned to the home screen. Then came another relentless Ryan calling. Hung up. Ryan calling. Hung up. Ryan calling.
What do you want? Can you stop bothering me? I don't want you in my world. Can you leave? I don't like it, and I don't want it. Can't you find someone more suitable for you? Why me? Don't you know that by doing this, you're making it impossible for me to go back to my old life?
Because of your presence, I've come to find my old life disgusting. I can't stand it for another second. But what do I get for my reckless behavior? My father's beatings, humiliation, and deeper self-loathing. I have to pay even more to make up for my transgressions. Can you stop pushing me? I'm afraid that if I get used to your world, I'll never be able to fit back into mine.
Emily, if you're too scared to come closer, that's okay. I can come to you. I can take 99 steps, even 100, and all you have to do is turn around.
I just want to hold you. I really want to hold you.
I could no longer hold back and burst into tears.
I know my actions make your already scarce sense of security even rarer, but you can trust me completely. Let me give you that security, okay?
After a long, long time, so long that his breathing faded away, I finally spoke.
Can you come find me? I need help. Ryan, I need you.
Ryan ran into the neighborhood, phone still in hand, and reached Grace's doorstep. The wind whooshed and his labored breath echoed through the phone. The door knocked.
Grace, open the door.
Grace found herself in his arms, quietly sobbing. Ryan held her close, not asking what happened, but comforting her. He smelled of the outside world, inviting, almost intoxicating.
I feel terrible.
No, you look beautiful. Cupping her face, wiping tears, you should wear less makeup, you look best naturally.
Okay.
And try to smoke less. If something's bothering you, talking to me will help more than smoking.
Okay.
I'll keep an eye on you.
Grace looked up at him. His dark, sparkling eyes held an entire galaxy, reflecting a fragile girl wrapped in love.
Why?
Because liking someone can't be explained with logic. Falling for someone can be a result of countless deliberate actions, or it can happen in a single unintentional moment. Sighs, pulling her closer, so I just can't help but like you.
For him, liking someone didn't need a reason. His life had always been smooth sailing. But Grace was different. In his warm embrace, she realized her affection was a longing to be loved. That night, Ryan stayed very late. Grace was engulfed in insecurity, self-doubt, and melancholy. Ryan held her until she calmed down. He really was a good person. Too tired to remove her makeup, Ryan did it for her, clumsily pouring makeup remover onto a cotton pad and gently wiping her face.
Has anyone ever told you that you're great?
Yes, but they usually say it because I never throw tantrums during training.
Like an angel.
No. Everyone is an angel, born to save each other. Some just have broken wings and need someone to lift them up. Grace, don't lose faith. One day, you'll lift me up too.
Grace didn't believe him. Ryan stayed by her bedside, watching her fall asleep. The arguments, the beatings, and the harassment from a few hours ago now felt like events from a past life.
I'm not a child.
I know. But everyone loves fairy tales, even adults.
He continued telling the story of the princess and the pea. His storytelling was so gentle that it was impossible not to get lost in the beautiful fairy tale world. Grace had no recollection of when Ryan left. She only knew she had the most restful sleep she had had in years. Until the doorbell rang in the early morning, shrill and piercing. Grace woke up in a panic, instinctively jumping out of bed to open the door. An unexpected person stood there, holding a suitcase and a black umbrella. Those eyes, she would never forget those eyes, looking at her with playful disdain.
Hey, pretty girl. Miss me?
That night, I thought I'd finally reached the surface of the sea, just a breath away from breaking through the water into the world above. But the past dragged me back into the depths.
Hey, long time no see, beautiful. You've grown even more beautiful. Invite me in?
Daniel, the man who once took my heart, had returned. I remembered our first encounter at one of my father's social gatherings.
My son just finished school, so I picked him up on the way. Don't mind him. Let's enjoy ourselves.
His eyes lingered on me inappropriately. Feeling nauseated, I stepped out to the stairwell for a cigarette.
Don't mess with my dad unless you want my mom to deal with you.
I turned to see him, tall and thin, with a silver earring.
How about hanging out with me?
I laughed at him. He answered with a deep kiss by the window, leaving me breathless and marking me as his. My father found out and slapped me but said nothing because of business ties with Mr. Chen. Did Daniel love me? I never knew. We lived hedonistically, and he left, taking his family's wealth and reputation. He deleted all contact information, and I disappeared from his life. When he returned, dragging his luggage, I was speechless.
I missed you, so I came back. Do you still have my clothes here? I need a shower and some sleep.
No. Didn't you bring any? He didn't change much but was more muscular, leaving no room to retreat. We spent the night together, and in the morning, I saw a message from Ryan.
A new lover, huh?
I ignored him, opened the window to a gloomy sky.
Your new lover sent another message. There's a performance match tonight, don't forget the time. And remember to bring an umbrella.
I gripped the phone, feeling the weight of the past and present. Daniel's indifferent face haunted me. I might really drown in the water. If I had to choose one person to sink into this messed up world with me, I would unhesitatingly choose Daniel.
He's not a good person, I knew that from the start. But he's the only one I can trust and who is within reach.
Daniel fell in love with someone abroad. An ordinary person with no notable background. He showed me her photo, taken on Hertford Bridge.
This is the famous Bridge of Sighs at Oxford University.
I saw her straight black short hair, and even her glasses couldn't hide the sparkle in her eyes. She wasn't particularly beautiful, but she had an inexplicable charm. She also looked familiar.
Where have I seen that light in her eyes before?
I realized Ryan had the same light in his eyes. They were the same kind of people, and Daniel and I were the same kind of people. We, who live in the shadows, are always involuntarily drawn to those who stand in the light.
What happened then?
What future could we have?
He was telling the truth. They could love freely, but they couldn't get married or have a future together. His status destined him to marry someone of equal standing. And I couldn't even reach that equal standing. I was just a past with no future.
How's your new flame?
I gave him a look that said, just like you.
There are fundamental differences between us. Your love has already ended, while my feelings for Ryan are just a small spark, not even ignited yet. But we both know the outcome would be the same. Ryan and I wouldn't have a good ending either. He had the bright qualities of your girlfriend and the promising future of you. And I was nothing.
I came back this time to take everything from my father.
After you have everything, will you try to win her back?
Daniel was taken aback at first, then slowly shook his head.
What's over is over. Even if I win her back, it won't be the same.
I fell silent. Yes, unless I improve myself, there won't be a chance to be with Ryan. But even if I improve, will Ryan still be waiting for me? How do I know if this persistence leads to a bright exit from the maze? I don't know. I can't guarantee it. Especially, I can't force Ryan to guarantee it. Meeting me was really bad luck for him. He originally had a carefree life, but now it's all messed up because of me. If I had known, I would have just thanked him that day and not even given him a glance.
Are you going out tonight?
I don't know. I want to go, but I don't want to go.
Emily, follow your heart. Don't do something you'll regret.
Haven't I done enough things I regret?
At 7:30 p.m., the exhibition match started. Daniel took 2 beers from the fridge and sat on the couch with me to watch TV. It was prime time, and all the channels were showing soap operas about family dramas. The highly saturated images bored me and gradually made me irritable. The rain started at 8 p.m., with thunder rumbling and shaking the walls of the high-rise. Then the rain poured down, shattering on the balcony floor, splashing off the glass windows, and breaking into pieces. I stared blankly at the rain.
Emily, I really liked you before.
What's the use of saying that now? It's been so long.
Besides, back then, even I couldn't tell what love was. I was just used to being an accessory to someone who was carefree. But now I'm different, I know what I want. It's not the kind of intimacy that makes you forget all your worries, nor the habitual attachment to the past.
I want to be a complete, free, and independent person. A true Emily. It's okay if there's no love.
At 9 o'clock in the evening, Emily's phone started vibrating. She glanced at the name composed of 2 characters, Ryan, but didn't answer. Ignoring it was the hardest choice she made tonight. The screen stayed lit for almost a minute before going dark again due to no answer. A moment later, it lit up again.
Emily, is your new admirer this persistent?
Daniel chuckled, touching his earring as his gaze also fell on the phone screen, showing a hint of interest.
Yes, very persistent, very annoying.
She pressed the screen off button. But deep down, that's also what she longed for, someone who thought she was important, who kept her in their heart, who couldn't live without her. But if that happened, she feared becoming a poison to them. She could make people addicted, whether it was her father's business partners or Daniel. But she couldn't let Ryan get addicted, or she would never forgive herself. Ryan's call came for the 3rd time, and Daniel couldn't resist wanting to answer it for her.
Reject or accept, you have to give him an answer.
Emily snatched the phone from his hand and held down the power button to turn it off. Everything returned to silence, with only the sound of characters talking in the soap opera. In the background noise of the pouring rain, she calmly thought about what Ryan's future would be like, a figure in the spotlight, standing on his podium, receiving his glory. Countless honors, countless gold medals. He deserved it. And she didn't deserve to be by his side.
Daniel, if you ever become Mr. Chen, would you consider taking me in?
She leaned on his shoulder.
No problem. It wouldn't cost much to take care of you.
They hugged each other in the storm, drawing warmth from each other like two ants saving themselves from drowning. Or maybe not saving themselves, just waiting for the end. At 10:30, the doorbell rang. Daniel got up to answer the door, wearing his luxurious silk pajamas. Emily had imagined this scene, two people facing each other in silence. But she didn't expect Ryan to be standing at the door, soaked to the skin.
Don't you have an umbrella?
She couldn't help but stand up, and Daniel gave her a calming look.
Is something wrong? It's so late.
Ryan didn't look at him, his gaze followed Emily. Wet eyes, devoid of any sparkle. Maybe the rain had extinguished it. A dull pain surged in her heart.
You didn't come. Why?
As you can see.
Water dripped from his brow, leaving a trail on his face. She didn't want him to break, she just wanted him to withdraw before investing more. But why did she still fail?
Ryan, you should go.
He laughed, his face pale, like a rock battered by the sea.
I'm not leaving. Emily, why can't you be braver? Why can't you trust me?
Ryan grabbed her wrist, pulling her into the hallway. He was strong, and she couldn't break free, stumbling along with him. He finally slammed the door, leaving Daniel inside. The hallway was silent, the air swirling in from the passage, slipping into her blanket, sending a shiver through her. She looked up at Ryan, drenched from head to toe, with something in his eyes she couldn't understand.
Emily, answer honestly, do you not like me?
She knew how well he understood her, so lying was useless.
I like you.
Answer honestly, do you not want to be with me?
I do. But.
His finger pressed against her lips before she could finish.
No buts, that's a coward's excuse. It's obvious I'm not a coward, and your actions to distance yourself from me show you're not a coward either. You have your own thoughts. So why can't you give me a chance?
She wanted to roll her eyes in frustration, but she couldn't deny that his current state made her irresistibly drawn to him. His eyes wrote "I want you," but his words were so humble. When did she become someone who could stand in a high position? When did she become someone worthy of being cherished?
Ryan, I'm not a good girl, I hope you know that.
I've always known.
No, I'm worse than you imagine. Smoking and drinking are just the surface. You wouldn't like what's underneath. Do you know where my living expenses come from? The house I live in? By accompanying my dad's business partners, enduring those pigs' hands all over me. Then, ding, money in my account. I can't resist this life because if I do, I'll lose everything.
Tears unconsciously slid from her eyes.
You say I'm not a coward, but you're wrong. I'm too scared to make a change. I'm afraid of losing, so I sink deeper into this sin. And you, Ryan, look at you. You're so bright, you have everything I want but don't dare to dream of. You deserve all the love because you're so good. You say you want to get close to me, but I don't want to drag you into my deep sea.
Ryan's eyes held silent scrutiny. Not pity, not disgust, but a cautious effort to protect her soft heart.
If I get together with you, will you pull me ashore, or will I drag you down?
Does it matter?
You'll drown.
She turned her head, not wanting to look at him. In that moment, countless future possibilities flashed through her mind. Ryan seemed to see her retreat driven by despair. He stepped closer, placing his cold hands on her shoulders.
Emily, listen carefully. Don't underestimate me. Have you forgotten who I am? I, Ryan, a swimmer. I was born to enter your deep sea, to explore, to salvage your essence. Given this chance, how could I let it slip away? I know you and the man in the room are alike, I can see that. But since you have this chance to get close to me, why not try?
He pulled her into his arms, the scent of rain filling her nose and the unique rhythm of his heartbeat. She was almost convinced. Yes, given this chance, why not try? Bet everything, even if only for a moment of light, it would be worth it. She lost all strength and surrendered herself to Ryan. He held her tightly, like a boy clutching his toy.
Grace, if you want to escape, then escape. Take me with you.
Easy for you to say. Without my dad, what would I do? Will you support me?
Ryan knew her too well. He knew saying, "I'll support you," would only make her more anxious.
I can go with you to our future.
Life is hard, but with him, it didn't matter. Since that night, it has been 3 weeks and 5 days since I last saw Ryan.
Does love fade with time? I don't know. But I do know that I'm barely holding on.
My longing for him grows with each passing day, as does my self-doubt. I often pour out my feelings to him over video calls, clinging to him like an octopus.
For me, a sense of security has always been a luxury.
Ryan, as always, is patient with me, comforting me, and giving me his love completely.
I'm like a star, Grace. You shouldn't worry about me running out of warmth because I generate heat on my own.
How wonderful, warming my ocean with his light.
Daniel stayed with me for 2 days and slept on the sofa for 2 nights. But soon, he had to return to his own ambitions and career. We said goodbye.
I'll come back to see you when I have time and get to know Ryan better.
Although he said he would come back, I felt he would never return. He would never contact me again. Our youth had already bid farewell to each other in the torrent of time. At 8:30 p.m., the video call ringtone sounded. It was Ryan's special ringtone. I had just come out of the bathroom and almost flew to grab my phone, pressing the green button on the screen.
The person I think about day and night.
He stood under the bright spotlight, cheers and camera shutters intermingling, the glistening light dancing over his beautiful muscle lines. He kissed the golden medal, his eyes filled with me.
Grace, I did it! Grace, wait for me to come back.